Your AI sidekick has arrived. That's right. Turn off the bat signal because Blaze is here to save the day. Blaze is an AI sidekick for overwhelmed teams of one just like you. Brainstorm and outline content ideas with AI. Go from idea to on-brand content in minutes. Turn a blog post into 10 plus asset types, ads, social posts, emails, and more. Collaborate with colleagues in real time and get content approved. Go to drT23.site. That is DRT23.site. Navigate to Blaze and download today.
Hey, come on in and welcome to A Win is a Win podcast, where sports and everything else collide. Comfortable? All right. Let's go, Dr. T.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Well, I told y'all I'll be right back here again another week. And guess what? Here I am, right back with all of the shenanigans that went down in sports, scores, and a little bit of pop culture. But before we go any further, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Thank you so much for the new listeners and the numbers running up. I surely appreciate it. But if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I promise you, it won't even cost you a thing. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you know when a new episode is dropping. And you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, or wherever you might listen to your podcast. All right, listen. The week four is in the books. Excuse me. And how can I say it? We have some teams that need to make some business decisions. Isn't that what a Antonio Pierce said last week? Players made some business decisions, and so we need to do the same. We'll get deep into that in a minute, but let's get through some of these scores. The Bison got picked off by the Ravens, y'all, 35-10. Derrick Henry showed up for all the smoke, all of it, with 24 carries, 199 yards, one touchdown, excuse me. And then Jackson had 2 touchdowns for 156 yards, went 13 of 18. Not too bad. Can they keep up this momentum though? We will see. The Chiefs hold off the Chargers to sit at 4-0 on the season, taking a W over Harbaugh, 17-10. KC did outscore in quarters 2, 3, and 4, holding the Chargers to just 10 points. And then Killer Trav, he did a little better. 7 receptions, 89 yards, still not where he normally is. Now, here's a question. Can they three-peat without their key players right now? What do you guys think? Let me know. 49ers steamrolled the Patriots 30-10. Purdy 15-27, 288 yards, 1 touchdown and an interception. But Mason 24 carries, 123 yards and 1 touchdown. That is an unstoppable man. Well, I won't say unstoppable. They did get stopped last week, but he showed out this week. Now, listen, Jacoby continues to struggle. And here's a question. Do the Patriots make a QB change? Is it time to switch up some things if they want to be on a winning side of the conversation? Let me know what y'all think. Listen, win or lose, I'm still a diehard dog. Yep. You guys know I'm Cleveland to the bone, but damn, the Browns need to make some changes. And I mean ASAP. And they can start with the offensive line. I mean, change up the entire roster. And Watson, he needs to go right now. Exit stage left. Browns took the L to Pierce's Raiders, 16-20. Listen, y'all. clearly. Make sure this microphone is on. All right. Listen, we were miles, if not light years, better with Flacco. Moving on. The Commanders rolled into the desert, cooked them some bird wings, and took right back off, beating the Cards 42-14. And let me tell y'all this, Jaden Daniels is here to let us know why he is the starting quarterback, and he has much more potential. He's 26 of 30, went 233 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. Now listen, 3 Cardinals fans were arrested after the game involved in a bloody brawl with Commanders fans, starting with 2 women pushing each other. And then, of course, the men jumped in to try to, take over. Bloody situation. And listen, with all that negative behavior, it didn't change the box combo 4-piece that they cooked up on y'all. So knock it off. Okay? 4-piece with the fries, hold the slaw, extra toast, extra cane sauce, and left the desert. Now listen, even with key players being out, somebody go check on them Philly birds. Hurts and the Eagles took a L to the Bucks, losing 16-33. Mayfield went 30 of 47 through 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Listen, y'all, the Eagles pretty much embarrassed themselves, and they were thoroughly outplayed. And let's not even get into the defense. I'm not trying to make this a 4-hour show. They need to do something different. They just don't look good. Bears pulled off a W over the Rams 24-18. And it looked to me as if the Bears OC Waldron didn't want Williams throwing past the sticks at all. Go watch the game. It's like he didn't trust Tim to throw past the sticks whatsoever. And here's the thing. I mean, we'll get into Eberflus a little bit later, but he completed 17 of 23, threw for 157 yards and a touchdown. Here's the bigger question. Were you impressed with that win? Now, listen, I'm a fan of a win is a win, no matter, how big or how small, a win is a win. But let's talk about performance for a second. Were you impressed with Caleb's performance and the team, overall? I'm not entirely sure I was. I mean, definitely they took W, okay, but the performance, I wasn't really that impressed. The Colts stall out the Steelers, winning 27-24. Pittsburgh was no threat at all in the first, putting up no points to the Colts 14. Tried to pick up the momentum about the third and the fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough. The Steelers are at 3-1 on the season. Colts moved to 2-2. Does Russ get his job back? Because, listen, you got the uniform on and you're on the sideline. So if you could suit up, you could play. I said that before. If you can suit up, you can play. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that situation. And Tomlin is defensive if you ask the question in the presser. So I think they're staying clear away from that conversation and that topic. But I mean, listen, don't waste my uniform putting it on if you can't go out there and do your job. That's just how I think. Moving along. It was a cinematic show in the Cheese State. Yep, the Vikings had to hold their breath. And I mean hold it in that last few drives that Jordan Love pulled off, but they still took the W on a slim win over the Packers 31-29. Now the Vikings outscored the Packers in the first half, but Love and company dominated the fourth quarter 22-3 in the fourth quarter. Vikings moved to 4-0 on the season. And Jones and Jefferson had a time. Let me tell you, 22 carries, 93 yards, and then 6 receptions, 85 yards, and 1 touchdown. Listen, let me tell you something. I watched that game. Jordan Love, that last drive, he looked like a young Tom Brady. I'm talking about when he was with the Patriots. Don't give Tom Brady 30 seconds on the clock. He's going to march you down the field and score. That's just what he did, but it wasn't enough. A little bit too late. Listen, 5 false starts and the dash, if they don't like each other, was the painful sight at the presser after the Jets lose 9-10 to the Broncos. Listen, your coach is sitting up there talking about cadence and blah, 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 blah. And then Aaron gets on the mic and says, we practice this in practice all the time. There's no reason for 5 false starts. So maybe some things need to change. Oh, y'all got verbal beef now? Y'all beefing at the presser? Y'all don't like each other. I don't care what nobody say. They don't like each other. They don't fool with each other. Listen, you already embarrassed Salah, and he had to go up there and basically throw you under the bus and say you were an unexcused absence. Covered and trying to, make light of a ugly situation, and then you come back and flip it and say, oh yeah, I was in Egypt and was finding myself. I was meditating and, with the pyramids and things of that nature, which all of those things are fine. But now when you have a job to do, sir, you have a job to do. Okay? Now listen, back in the day, it was a song and it went something like this. Something, 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 something just ain't right. Do, 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 do. Okay, first of all, if y'all want to make jokes about how I sing, be careful now. Okay? I was almost on American Idol. I'm kidding. But do y'all remember that song, or am I just telling my age? Listen, the Jags need to clean house because, listen, ain't no way. Ain't no way, ain't no way. They take the L 20-24 to the Texans and are now riding on a big fat donut. What do you mean, Dr. T? I mean nothing. Zip, zero. They have nothing on the season. 0-4. Now we can go down the rabbit hole of their offense, but I'm not trying to make this no 2-hour episode. And while I'm on the subject matter of the Jags, excuse me, listen. Trevor Lawrence, to me, he reminds me of like that purse that I wanted to buy. And, I spent the bag to go get it because I wanted it. It has all these little bells and whistles and things that it seems to be worth my while. Only to realize later, like, nah, come on, Tiff, this wasn't even worth what I paid. Y'all picking up what I'm laying down? I sure hope so. All right, folks, them orange and black stripes finally got a W. And no, I'm not talking about Tony the Tiger, but the Bengals. Yup, they won 34-24 over Dalton and the Panthers. Cool Macaulay Culkin went 22 of 31, threw for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Chase, 3 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. So is this the premium petrol that they finally need to take off? What y'all think? Because maybe they was getting like 87, regular for the first couple games. It really wasn't the gas that they needed to get going. In some way, somehow, they figured out that it's other options on the pump. Let's try this premium petrol and see what happens. Oh, boom. Feel the clip. Let's go. Let's see what happens with the Bengals, because let folks tell it, Joe, cool blonde Joe, is Mahomes' kryptonite. Well, let's see. Now, listen, y'all, the Falcons may have won the damn Super Bowl. Let them tell it. They may as well have won the damn Super Bowl last week, the way the fans had the streets jumping after the win over the Saints 26-24. Cousins went 21 of 35, threw for 238 yards, one interception, and Carr went 28 for 36, 239 yards, and one interception. Listen, both teams are now at a deuce for the season. What do y'all think about the Saints? You think they got it in them to keep going the way that they started? Do you think they're gonna finish the way that they started? How do you think Kirk Cousins is performing so far with all that money that he got? Because the only person that's bigger than contract is bigger than Cousins right now is we'll get to them in a minute. All right. Because we had some Monday night football games. Yes, we did. And listen, the Lions were not playing with those Seahawks at all. Lions packed them birds up and flew them back to Seattle expeditiously. Isn't that how T.I. using big words? Expeditiously flew them back to Seattle. Yep, the Lions got the big W, 42-29. Golf perfect dimes. Blip, blip, blip. 18 of 18, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. Listen, let me tell y'all something I saw in that game. Pure cinema. Okay, whoever drew up this play, the offensive coach, I don't know if it was the head coach or if it was the offensive coordinator. I don't know. So, ball snaps. Golf drops back, passes it off to St. Brown. St. Brown drops back. Golf gets open on the left side. Amon-Ra St. Brown throws a dime. Golf walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Come on now. Pure cinema. Come on. Gibbs, 14 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Geno went 38 of 56, threw for 395 yards with 1 touchdown. Both teams are now 3-1 on the season. You think the Lions is trying to make themselves the real deal this year, y'all? What y'all think? Because let me tell you, one thing's for certain, two things for sure. They are going to run that ball down your throat. Pass, all right, cool. But we're going to run you like old school football for sure. Listen, the Lions packed up the birds and flew them back to Seattle. What do you think? You think Seattle still has it? You think the birds got off the plane and said, whoo, shook the feathers off and said, okay, hold on. We need to immediately watch some film and see exactly what happened. Now listen, Miami went for another swim, and this time they couldn't hook a W if you paid them to. Losing to the Titans 12-31. Slow start, but Tennessee outscored them in every quarter. And neither quarterback, in my opinion, Huntley or Rudolph. Let's see, Huntley went 14 of 22 and had 96 yards. And then Rudolph was 9 of 17 with 85 yards. Neither one of them put up amazing numbers. But anyway, the Titans pull it out. Both teams sit at 3-1 on the season. Listen, you think Huntley got it? You think Huntley's got it in him to take Miami where they need to be? Or you think they're just going to keep skating by until Tua comes back, which is another whole situation within itself right there. We'll see what's going on. And, I had to keep this for last because I get so incredibly sick and tired of talking about these folks. Listen, Cowboys, blah, blah, blah. Did they win? Yes. 20-15. But listen, y'all, they won against the Giants. Crickets. They won against the Giants. Just like they ran with their feet planted sternly on the ground last year when they beat the Giants 40, what was it, 40-3 or something like that. And all of the Cowboy fans came out with their gear on, stars and helmets. And we're going to the Super Bowl. What happened? Postseason, and your quarterback chokes just like he's done for the past 8 years. And then what happens this week? Oh, we beat the Giants. It's up now. It's up. We go. No, you're not. No, you're not. You've been nowhere in 30 years. Stop it. Last time I think the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl, I was in grade school. Knock it off. Okay. But even still, with the W, it wasn't that impressive in my opinion. It's just not. They're just not a dominant team. Nobody's afraid of the Cowboys, and if the Giants actually scored on their attempts, they would have won the game. Then there's Daniel Jones. We don't have to say nothing else. Dallas is now 2-2 of the season, and I think Brian Daboll is cooked, y'all. Cooked grit. So when we come back, listen, we got some schools that are making some shady contractual business deals and not paying these students as they should. And the Pittsburgh Pirates are trying to be cheap within their contract and penny pinch one of their players. So we're going to talk about that and a lot more. Get you something to drink, stretch, coming right back.
Looking for some quality betting picks? Well, download the Discord app and join our group Bet Masters Lounge, where you can get positive EV and arbitrage along with best bets and parlays. Download Discord now, send us an invite, and get in on the action.
All right. So right before the preseason, the NBA shakes up the internet with this one. Listen, Karl Anthony Towns, cat to the New York Knicks a week before the preseason. Now, would have thought that? Who would have thought that? But now listen, the Knicks were desperate for a center. That we definitely knew that. But this is what the Wolves get. They get Randall, DiVincenzo, and Bates along with a heavy draft pick via Detroit in the middle of getting ready for the preseason. Anthony Edwards said he was astounded by it. He really had no words. And then if you go on Cat's, what is that, X or Twitter, he just put ... I mean, threw everybody for a loop, shook it up. But check this out. Look at this potential lineup for the Wolves. You will have Connolly, Edwards, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. What y'all think about that lineup? Let me know down in the chat. Listen, the mustache had this to say about the winless Jags. Now, Shad Khan said before the season that this is the best team ever assembled by the Jacksonville Jaguars ever. Make no mistake. Best players, best coaches, most importantly, let's prove it by winning. This was in the documentary ahead of training camp. Listen, does the man even know about football? See, that's the thing about these owners. They have the money to buy these teams, right? But do they actually know about the sport? That's what I want to know. And then GMs that's under them, do they know? Because right now they need to fire everybody in Jacksonville, and he might need to take some money away from himself at this point. Because I don't know if you using too much of that mustache wax to make yourself look like what was the man's name? Sherlock Holmes. Because this is not what you say when you're 0-4 on the season and your quarterback is playing like y'all paid him with a Subway sandwich meal with the jalapeno chips and a raspberry iced tea. Okay? I have no idea where his thinking or his thought process is, or maybe you need to go buy a few car dealerships because this one is not it. Listen, the Pirates first baseman Rowdy Tellez, 4 plate appearances shy of a 6-figure bonus. This is nasty business right here. In December of 23, Pittsburgh Pirates contract guru Ethan Houlihan quietly posted to social media the specifics of an agreement between the team and first baseman Tellez. Now, the contract's incentive structure per Houlihan included a $200,000 incentive if Tellez reached 425 plate appearances in 2024. Dig this. That piece of Tellez's contract became news around the baseball world this past Tuesday afternoon when the Pirates designated Tellez for assignment. 4 plate appearances shy of the 425 mark. That's Bush League. Ooh, that's dirty. Dirty, nasty work. Organizations should be completely embarrassed. Listen to this. Penny Pinchin, $200,000 for a player that gives their all to your organization, but they're fine charging hard working fans $15 for a hot dog plus tax. Stop it. These organizations are greedy. They're running their players in the ground, not making good on contracts, etc., etc., etc. Listen, Jonathan India has a word about the Cincinnati Reds. He says we're tired of losing. It's the same thing every year here. We just float around 500 and try to make the push, but we just don't have enough. We need to make a move. I know exactly what that is, but I just don't want to say it to the media. Listen, new owners and new managers, that's where that's going to have to start. I feel for them. Some people say, well, at 247 with, what does he have, 15 home runs, isn't exactly doing a ton of offense, but it's a bigger picture. You can call out his stats, you can say what you want, but the point is that the brother is upset. He wants to win, and that ain't happening. And he has some thoughts about it. And that's exactly what he meant. Listen, talking about contractual obligations going bad, we got a midseason holdout in UNLV. Now, starting QB Matt Sluka announces he will redshirt and won't play the rest of the season. He said, quote, I committed to UNLV based on certain representatives that were made to me, which were not upheld after I enrolled. Despite discussions, it became clear that these commitments would not be fulfilled in the future. I wish my teammates the best of luck this season and hope for the continued success of the program. Listen, people have a whole lot of thoughts about this, and I will just say it in this manner. If you are employed and you sign your job description and your job description leads to what am I being paid, you look at it and say, okay, I have to do A, B, and C in order to get my $20 an hour, show up on time, clock in, take my 30 minutes break, lunch 15-minute break, and keep up with productivity, etc. And then you do all of that, smash your numbers out the water. And then they say, oh yeah, hold on, by the way, we only gonna pay you $10 an hour, and you think you gonna show up to work the next day? Yeah, okay. No, this isn't about him choosing to ruin his team. Okay, this is not that. This is simply not honoring a contract, and that's all it is. You have the sport. And don't get me wrong, I feel like that young man, even with, look at his stats, right? He's 318 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, QBR 74.5. I don't think this is a young man who just wants to not play. I think he wants to make sure that people hold good on their word. It's business at the end of the day. All right, listen, let's jump into a fantasy question. Okay. Would you make this fantasy trade in a 12-team league, half point PPR? Give up Burrow and receive Justin Fields, or give up James Cook for DeAndre Swift, or would you trade Jennings for Rice? Would you accept or decline this trade? I'm going to tell you that I'm going to decline the trade. Like, it's sometimes I feel like the way that these things are put up online, it's like people are pulling straws out of a hat and just coming up with anything at this point. Because losing Cook alone ain't worth all of them three guys. I'm talking about, no. Whoever put this up on FanDuel's fantasy, knock it off, okay? This makes no sense whatsoever. I'm declining that fantasy trade all day long. Listen, Eberflus is on borrowed time, in my opinion, and the coaching staff sucks as well. When you look at what they have given Caleb, okay, and then you look at what they didn't give Fields, you look at it further and deeper, like in my opinion, like this. The number 1 draft pick versus the number 2 pick. What's the difference, Tiffany? The Tiffany is thinking in her mind that people need to really stop and look at the organization. Tiffany is saying to herself, why are people blind by what's going on in Chicago? Here's the difference. Caleb versus Daniels. If you don't know, Caleb went number 1, Daniels went number 2. One went to an organization that knows what they're doing. End of story. That's it. Look how well Fields is producing with the Steelers. Better run organization. Look at how Caleb is with weapons. Not entirely sure. So at some point, it can't always be the players. Although they like for us to believe that it is. Now, Caleb, he got a little work to do. He needs to get some things worked out on his performance. Eberflus is on borrowed time, if you ask me. I do feel that it is a difference in the organizations. Listen, I need Deshaun Watson to just go away. Go somewhere else and play, because at this point your takes and your outlook on what the Browns' expectation of you is just as confusing as how you look on the field. Watson said he's not interested in the Browns' offense featuring design quarterback runs. I'm not a running back. It's not my specialty. They signed me to throw the ball, make decisions, and be a quarterback, not a runner. So now check this out. Deshaun is complaining about being asked to do something he isn't paid to do. Listen, if that's not your specialty, then I'm just going to say it like this, Mr. Watson. Your specialty might be running around in Houston doing real filthy, nasty stuff with these women in the hotel rooms and then disrespecting them, SAing them, and then going to play football like it never happened. Sound real familiar? Mm-hmm. Sound real nasty, like somebody else who just got caught up in the media with the law on their tail. Listen, you better hope that you still got a job in the next couple weeks once those tapes that come out. And speaking of specialties, I don't think your specialty is a quarterback either. Anyway, moving along, I'm sick and tired of him. Now, remember I told you that it was UNLV players that were leaving? Well, here's the other one. Yep. Michael Allen said, I'm chunking the deuces, and he's following Matt Luca's footsteps by choosing to redshirt and enter the transfer portal following the season. Sluka first chose to leave this team, as you know, because his commitments regarding the NIL was not fulfilled. Now, this is what Allen said. After 3 games, I have decided to utilize my red shirt and enter the portal at the end of the season as a junior. I'm grateful for UNLV and wish them nothing but success. Expectations for opportunities, unfortunately, were not met, and I'm excited to continue my football career. Listen, they owe the young man 100,000 bands. All right. In its comparison, let's say you were promised a bonus based on metrics and measurable outcomes at your job, and you blow those out the water. When it comes time for the bonus, they say, oh, psych, we was just playing. Oh, okay. Right? Well, I'm going to just not be playing when I go over here to this court and slap a lawsuit on you for not honoring your contract. Psych. You thought I was that type of person and let you get away with it? Okay. Watch me work. And you know what? Again, we have people that are saying that these young men are stupid. It's not about the money, it's about the team, and rightfully so. Do I think NIL needs to have a little bit more grip on it? Absolutely. But do I think these kids deserve the pay that they are promised contractually? Absolutely. And there's nothing else to it. Nothing else to it. This is something simply, strictly about business. It's about nothing else. Like they said, they are entering the transfer portal. That doesn't mean that they don't want to play football. It means that I'm not going to run around here and do the things that I know I'm contractually obligated to do, and then you don't make good on your end. Time out, throw the challenge flag. Is something wrong here? And I don't blame them. And who could at that point? Listen, Derrick Rose said, all right, it's been fun. A time was had, but I'm out. After 15 seasons, Derrick Rose has announced his retirement from the NBA. 2011 MVP, 2009 Rookie of the Year, 3 times NBA All-Star, All NBA First Team, 2-time FIBA Gold Medalist. Where does D Rose rank all time, in your opinion? Jump down in the chat. Let me know exactly what you think. I think he should enter the Basketball Hall of Fame. Listen, y'all, it is called the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame, because there was quite a nice debate about that online, but I want to put y'all up on game. Basketball Hall of Fame. Okay? All right. Listen, Big Ben was one of the strongest players that I had ever seen, from undrafted to Hall of Fame. Yep. The HBCU legend, Ben Wallace's story is one for the ages. Undrafted in 96, he defied the odds with grit and determination, earning his spot with the Washington Bullets. Now, he made his mark in Detroit as a Piston. That's where I really watched him. And using his, how do I want to say this, like his unmatched defensive power to help secure one of the greatest upsets in sports history against the Lakers Big Four in the 2004 finals. Now, notice I said one of the biggest upsets, because to me, the biggest upset is, of course, my Cavaliers coming back down 3-1 to take the whole chip from Golden State. It's just my opinion. Let me know if you agree. Now, you got to understand, nothing was given to Big Ben, and his basketball success wasn't conventional. His ability to affect the flow of the game defensively was unmatched for his entire era, earning him 4 Defensive Player of the Year honors. His effort and hustle were noteworthy, as well as he racked up 10,482 rebounds in his career. Now, Ben Wallace's Hall of Fame career has solidified him as arguably the best undrafted player of all time. What's your favorite Big Ben moment? I'm going to tell you mine, okay? And this isn't about, I've seen him in actual games. But listen, let me tell y'all a little something about Dr. T here, okay? I was with all of the go to dances and get me the nicest dress and the heels, played basketball for a minute, ran track for a minute, played basketball at the YMCA. I was basically Monica in love and basketball. But as a OG 2K gamer, y'all, my memory is this. I had Yao at the 5, Ben at the 4 with Ron Artest at the 3, and season mode defense was on point. You hear me? And if y'all still want some smoke on the game, I'm available. Let me know. All right, listen. JJ Redick put out his I guess you could say his starting 5. I think it's too small, personally. Tell you what it is. Y'all get down there in the comments, in the chats, and let me know exactly what you think. Now, he has D'Lo, Bron, Hashi, Davis, and Reeves. I don't know. I just think that that's too small. I mean, AD should be at power forward this season. And if you get a proper center and put AD at the 4, this team just might be unstoppable. But the backcourt giving up 80 points a game, point guards around the league right now, licking their chops. Like, yeah, lineup is just too small in my opinion. What y'all think about this lineup? Y'all think it's too small, or do you think that you trust JJ Redick? I don't know. I don't like it. That's just me. All right. Now, here's a question. Who do you think has the most fouls drawn beyond the ABC of all time? Okay, here's your options. Kemba Walker, Kyle Lowry, KD, JJ Redick, Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, Lillard, Curry, or Harden. Who do you think has drawn the most? And then get my Jeopardy music. Do 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 do. Well, it's James Harden, y'all. He drew 628 fouls. Now, you never guess how far the number one is ahead of everyone else, especially how far he is. The distance between him and Steph really puts things into perspective. Now, Steph Curry had 264 fouls. Like, I knew he drew fouls, but that's crazy. Come on now. 628 is, how do these kids say it? It's diabolical. That overused word. Everything's diabolical. Listen, Zach Lowe is another layoff at ESPN, with his 7-figure salary being the biggest factor. And he was with them for 12 years. I really don't know what's going on over there at ESPN. Look, we just had Woj just up and say, I'm done. Now, we know his passion was to go and coach a college team. Cool. But even still, like, I'm out. No goodbye. No farewell show. No respect given. Let me up out of here. I'm not going to say that his reasoning wasn't true, because I believe what people say out of their mouths more than what I get by, according to so and so, a source said this. The man said what he said. But if you look at what's happening at ESPN, it's almost like they're trying to free up the cap so they could pay Stephen A. And if that's the case, first of all, we don't need no more of Stephen A. We don't. And he also wants to be like a little mini Howard Cosell and, have more of the NBA and more of the NFL. Like, come on now. We don't need any more of that. Cutting true talent to keep some soap opera folks on the air just don't make no sense to me whatsoever. But they're owned by Disney. Disney has a certain vision, and perhaps some things just don't align with that. Never know. Listen, do you think OBJ is gonna make a difference when he comes back to the Dolphins? Because I don't. I don't even see what all the hype is, all the conversation. Oh, OBJ's coming back, and all of a sudden, Huntley is just gonna throw him dimes that he's just gonna catch, and he can't even get him to Tariq Hill. So what is going to be the difference? OBJ is not playing like he used to. He's not in his prime anymore. He's had several injuries. What is he going to change? Do y'all agree with this? Because I don't agree with it at all. I don't think he's going to change a thing. Listen, another need for some new knees. Kawhi, in my book, he's cooked. I believe he is cooked because he had another knee surgery and will be limited to start training camp. And I just think that it's like a curse with him. Something is always going on with his knees, and perhaps he just needs to I don't even know what he needs to do. I mean, the Clippers are saying, "Oh, we're optimistic about his return, and he'll be better than ever." I mean, I do want to stick it out because I see him stick it out because I know he's a competitor at heart. But sometimes your body is just saying, hold on now, brother. I don't think we can sustain this at all. I mean, I'm optimistic that I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Is it actually going to happen? Absolutely not. It's late. I need to go to sleep. But I'm optimistic about it. But the reality is, I ain't going to have it. So how optimistic are you guys about Kawhi and his return? Will this surgery be his last and final that gets him over the hump? Or is this the surgery that's going to just keep him minimum at best? Let me know what you guys think. Now listen, you went all the way to Germany. For what? Let me sit this aside. Okay. We're going to sit the podcaster aside. We're going to sit the content creator aside and get back into my everyday job, and that is sports medicine. Listen to me, y'all. Turn your volume up because I'm going to tell you some nonsense when I hear it, especially when I know better. Okay? Now, Christian McCaffrey last week went to Germany seeking medical advice from experts about his Achilles injury, which has kept him out this season. Let me tell y'all something. This is not normal. Now, if something is straightforward as far as an injury is concerned, you don't need to go carry your tail all the way over to Germany to go address it, especially during the middle of the season. Because listen, it is a lot of things, and there's certain things here in America that they don't have access to in other countries. So, like my grandmother used to say when we all used to spend the night over her house and some cookies come up missing out the cookie jar or something come up missing out that refrigerator, and we all downstairs in the basement or upstairs in the TV room, because back in the day we had TV rooms, okay? Or we was outside. We didn't have internet. Or we was playing games. And she called us all up there and asked us who did what. And Grandma Big say, oh, somebody lying? That's how this is. Somebody lying. Okay? Because ain't no way. I know better. Okay? I know better. And I don't want to hear this conspiracy about stem cells. Okay? I don't want to hear about it. And it's stem cells that treatments that can be done in the United States. I'll just say that much because it ain't nothing special going on anywhere else that you don't have already have access to here. Most of the time, the people are coming here to get those things done. Think about it for a minute. All right. Now, Teresa Witherspoon Teaspoon was fired and left everybody in shock. All right. I'm a fair person, right? And I had to Step outside of social media. Go back to these games and look and see what could possibly be the reason. Okay. I don't necessarily understand why they pulled the clip so big, but I do think that she could have learned how to run a two big set. I think she could have done a little bit better there. And Cardoso needs the ball more because she's, in my opinion, the second best player on the team. And sometimes, when it came to, um, falling short, I guess you can say, in rotations and late game situational executions, I think that could have been a factor. But I still don't think that was those small things warranted all of this. Angel Reese went on social media with a lengthy post, but to sum it up, she's hurt. Teresa Witherspoon believed in her when nobody else did. She will miss her. She doesn't question why God brings people in or out her life, and she wants to let her know that she loves her very much. So where do y'all think Teaspoon is going to end up next? Don't know. Listen, the Undertaker, excuse me, not the Undertaker, the Hulk was out here dry snitching, y'all. Okay, on Jesse Ventura. He pretty much went to Vince McMahon because Ventura was trying to unionize the wrestlers.
Next time we'll get the rest of you stupid fools.
And that's just pretty much how he thought about it. He was going to get everybody in this documentary. I believe it's on Netflix. But during the documentary, Hulk Hogan admitted to snitching to Vince McMahon about Jesse Ventura trying to get the wrestlers to unionize. And if you know anything, Jesse has been saying that for years. So it seems like Hulk Hogan might have been a face on screen, but he must have been the heel backstage because I just can hear him saying, like, let me tell you something, brother. And the end of the day, this is just validated what Jesse has been saying the whole time. And I know y'all know that. And if you don't, he's been telling that story. He hasn't faltered from it yet. Hulk Hogan out here dry snitching. Oh, Lord. All right, so listen. I have told y'all plenty of times about Ashton Genty. And if nothing else that I've said about him has been true, he validated all of it. Listen, 2024 regular season stats so far: 82 carries, 845 yards, 13 touchdowns, and an average of 10.3. If this young man or Travis Hunter don't win the Heisman, I'm going to know something. They probably will give it to a QB because that's what they always do. But these two young men need to be in the conversation. And right now, Genty is leading that conversation. If you have never seen him play, take a look at some of his clips on YouTube. I've been following him. The boy balls out. And I don't think people understand how many yards that is and how hard that is. But watch the young man and let me know. Circle back and let me know exactly what you think. All right, so listen, week 4 NFL stat leaders. Of course, the internet wastes no time putting up these lists. This is from ESPN and FanDuel, and you know how I feel about these lists, y'all. Because every single week it's another list, and people crash out about these all the time. So here we go. Passing yards, the leader is Geno Smith with 1,182. Sam Darnold is the leader for passing touchdowns with 11. Completion percentage, Jaden Daniels with 82.1. Rushing yards, Derrick Henry, how could it not be at 480? Also rushing touchdowns, how could it not be? Derrick Henry with 5. Receptions, Malik Neighbors with 35. Receiving yards, Nico Collins at 489. Receiving touchdown, Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4. Tackles, you got EJ Speed with 47 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson with 6.5. Xavier McKinney with 4 interceptions. Brandon Aubrey twice for the Cowboys. Field goals made, 12. Longest field goal, 65 yards. And average punt is Recco. I never know how you say his name. 58.4 yards. Listen, look at it like this. Neighbors and Harrison. You got Neighbors leading the league in receptions. You got Harrison Jr. leading the league in receiving touchdowns. These rookie wide receiver class this year, something special. Something special. Listen, before we get into these bets, right, for next week, before we get into next week's picks, I want y'all to know that Tom Brady had some words, okay? He had a word for Baker Mayfield. You know, I had to hold my breath on that one because Baker Mayfield is always running his mouth, and I actually thought that he had got out of that, but it looks like he didn't. Baker Mayfield said this: they wanted me to come in, be myself, bring the joy back to football for guys who weren't having as much fun. Tom Brady entered the group chat and said, "Oh no, brother, hold on. I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings." Bars. That was a bar. He started it off with a full clip. I thought stressful was not having Super Bowl rings. Loaded clip. He then emptied that one, reloaded, and said this wasn't daycare. If I was going to have fun, I was going to Disneyland with my kids. Another clip. Bar. He was not playing any games. Now, of course, you know people are going to clown Tom Brady because they were saying, well, while you were at Disney World, Giselle was over there with the jiu-jitsu coach dry humping. Come on, y'all, leave that man alone. He ain't know what that woman was doing with that man until after the fact. So, anyway, Tom Brady with a word. Do you think that what Baker Mayfield said was that deep? Do you think if it was necessary for him to kind of throw shade? Because people are saying, oh, he didn't throw no shade at Tom Brady. Please. What else could you mean? If I'm looking at this wrong, y'all, let me know. What else could you mean? Because I believe that Tom Brady heard it the same way that I did, and that's the reason why he pulled out the clip and responded like that. Jump down in the chat in the comments. Let me know exactly what you guys think. All right, so when we come back, we're going to get into picks for next week. We're doing 3 leg parlays, college football, and I have NFL. No MLB right now. I'm trying to watch these games and get a better feel of who's doing what first. So we'll be back next week with those and have some what do they have on DraftKings this week? They got some nice promos going on. So go ahead and stretch a little bit, and then we'll be right back with these picks. Voting is the cornerstone of our democracy. We know that people fought tooth and nail to get that privilege. It is how we make our voices heard, and we drive change in our communities through voting. Your vote matters, so make sure you are registered, stay informed, and cast your ballot this upcoming election. Remember, your vote is your power. If you are not registered to vote, go to vote.org. That's vote.org. Get registered so that your voice is heard. Let's get back to the show. All right, it's time to get your coins out. Let's get into some of these picks for this week. So this week we're going to do a 3-leg parlay for the NFL, and this is simply for spreads. Now, sometimes I'll mix it up. This week, this is going to be who can cover the spread. So I'm going to go with the Giants and the Seahawks. The Seahawks will cover that spread at -6. I'm going to go with the Cardinals and the 49ers. I will say the 49ers will cover that 7.5-point spread. And I'm going to go with the Ravens and Bengals. I think the Bengals will cover the spread and come out winning that game +3. Taking a dog on that one. And then if we go over here to our college matchups, I'm going to put in a 3-leg parlay for the over-unders on this one. So we got Syracuse and UNLV. I'm going to go with the over at 58 on that one. Texas A&M and Missouri, I'm going to go the over on that at 48.5. And then Auburn and Georgia, I'm going to go under 53.5 on that one. And don't forget, go over to Dr. T23.site. Y'all already know, dr23.site. Click join me on DraftKings. Go ahead and make your deposit. They'll match you up to $250 and jump on some of these bonuses. Sometimes you get a no sweat bet. They have some major profit boosts all the way up to 105, but make sure you read it, because some of those profit boosts are specific to certain plays. So make sure if it's just a parlay, it's just a parlay. Make sure you read it, because sometimes it's specific to touchdowns, it's specific to rushing, kicking. Make sure you read it before you go and click on it and opt in. And remember, only bet what you're willing to lose. All right, if you got $20, bet 10. If you got 10, bet 5. Don't spend all your money on this. It's gambling. It's a toss-up. It's for fun. Don't go broke trying to make a couple chalupas, okay? All right, so when we come back, y'all, we got to get into Gone Now, because I'm sick and tired of this one individual that I really like as an artist, but I'm sick and tired of the antics. So they need to go on now, and we'll come back with that right now. All right, y'all. I didn't even want to take a quick little break. I needed to come right back right now for this one, because I am sick and tired of all of the antics from this individual as an artist. I am sick and tired of it. Okay. And I know once I say this name, those who know. Now listen, Lauryn Hill is one of my top artists that I can say put out, even though it was one album, was a very solid album, a very easy listen. No skips, start to finish, in my opinion, especially when she was with the Fugees. Okay. Now, that being said, time has passed, and Miss Hill has, quite frankly, disappointed the fan base in many different ways, either being late to shows, not showing up at all, canceling shows, or not giving her best performance when people love your artistry and they're paying money to come see you. And then you have the actual audacity to get on, the stage and scold your fans because they're tired of these antics. Gone now. Okay. At some point in time, we got to start calling things for what they are, and people on their BS, because that's exactly what this is, crap. And then furthermore, now you're going to go online and completely air out you and Praz and Wyclef's business, like we needed to understand why another tour was canceled. Gone now. It's too much. But so you have a little bit more background as to my frustration. We're going to read a little bit of what she had to say. Let me drink some water, y'all, because this is going to get really long. Hold on. Had to drink it away from the microphone. I didn't want y'all to think this one of them AMSR videos. Okay. She starts with this. Some clarity and facts need to be presented. I've been silent and pushing through because I've understood that Praz was under duress because of his legal battles and that this was perhaps affecting his judgment, state of mind, and character. Now, time out. Why we need to know that, sister? Why we need to know that, good sister? Why we airing this man's business out? Okay? She continues and breaks it down into facts. Fact number one. There's 7 of them, okay? This is why I'm giving her go now, because this is just way too long to be on the internet talking about somebody else's business. I told y'all last week, the internet is dark. Fact 1. This baseless lawsuit by Praz is full of false claims and unwarranted attacks. It notably omits that he advanced overpayment for I don't know what this child is saying, omits that he was advanced overpayment for the last tour and has failed to repay substantial loans extended by myself as an act of goodwill. Let me interject right there. Because, see, now you're talking out the side of your face. If you have done something as an act of goodwill, then shouldn't that be between you and Praz? Because the act of goodwill is not going on social media to air out what you actually did. Last year's tour was put together to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the album The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It was being planned whether the Fugees were involved or not. Fact 2. The tour was expanded to incorporate the Fugees because I found out that Praz was in trouble and would need money to aid in his legal defense. Lord, I mean, come on now, you sound like the police. You out here airing out this man's business, putting him on. I'm talking about putting his business all the way out there. Gone now. She continues. Fact number 3. Praz was given a $3 million, and then you put a number to it, $3 million advance for the tour, which he said he required to pay his legal fees. Wyclef and myself deferred our full advances to make sure he had what he needed and was able to go. I was covered in most of the tour expenses. I think she means I covered most of the tour expenses as the majority of the tour advance had gone to Praz. An agreement was put in place to secure the repayment of the money he was advanced. Praz has not paid the money he was advanced and is currently in breach of the agreement. Talk about repeating the same thing in different ways. Fact number 4. Because my tour band production and setup was already happening, the Fugees set utilized this same production. I absorbed most of the expenses myself, produced the show, put together the entire set with Wyclef's participation for the Fugees and the Wyclef set. Praz basically just had to show up and perform. Fact number 5. As of the last tour, Praz thanked me Praz thanked me I think she's trying to say Praz thanked me for saving his life. It's not written like that. And she puts in parentheses, I have receipts. Now, come on now, gone. You and Praz getting real messy. So now you done took this private act of goodwill and then aired this man's laundry out all over the internet because of a lawsuit that he didn't put out publicly, but somebody actually found it and they put it out. Fact number 6. And here's where I get confused because I'm thinking some of this should have just been in number 1 and got to the point. And she alludes to that later. Fact number 6. I am not in the business of kicking anyone, especially when they're down, which is why I haven't responded to date. It is absolutely disheartening to see Praz in his position, my bandmate, and someone I considered a friend, but this leads to fact number 7, which probably should have been fact number 1. Oh, I mean, he needs some more water. I was not in Praz's life when he decided to make the unfortunate decision that led to his current legal troubles. I did not advise that he make that decision, and therefore I am in no way responsible for his. How many times you gonna repeat his decision? I am in no way responsible for his decision and its consequences, though I have taken it upon myself to help. Despite his attacks, I am still compassionate and hope things work out for him. Respectfully, Miss Lauren Hill. Now listen, some stuff need to not be our business. Okay. Now let's say you logged in, Miss Lauren Hill, and you saw what someone said online. Okay. Any court document is public information. Okay. So it's not like Praz was just on here airing you out. You took it upon yourself when he started to talk about what people put online. Then that's when both of you all, in my opinion, got messy. None of this should be privy to our business in the first place. It's just like Cardi B and Offset. If y'all don't like each other, you don't want to be married to it, go figure that out in court. Stop pulling all of the people into your private business, in your bedroom, in your house. Go on now. Listen, you have consistently not shown up to your shows. You have consistently berated and ridiculed your fans when they have simply said, we have had enough of the antics. We are paying good money to come and see you. And now we get all of this. Some stuff just doesn't need to be said. All y'all need to go now. Do a reset. 2024 is up for everybody. Start over next year, year after that, see what happens, or just don't go on tour at all, because at this point nobody believes you. Okay, that's gonna end it for this week's episode. The internet, boys, a strange place. Don't forget to catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And y'all, I'm going to be right back here next week and see what else is going on. See who can pull off some wins, who's going to take some L's. And we'll circle back then. But y'all stay safe. And listen, a word is this: do not let the internet change who you are or make you think that you have to be somebody that you're not. Peace.